Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. On the show today, we are going to make pumpkin pancakes with cinnamon honey butter. Now this is a great recipe for a Saturday or Sunday morning to bring in the fall season. So let's get cooking. First step to our recipe is to mix our dry ingredients. So first we're going to take some all-purpose flour, and we need 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. So we're going to use the scoop and level method so we get an accurate measurement, and we're going to put this into a mixing bowl. Okay, so next we are going to mix some spices. We want first 2 tablespoons of sugar to sweeten it up a little bit. We're going to be using 2 teaspoons of baking powder. This is going to give us the rise to our pancakes. Okay. Next, we're going to be using a 1/2 teaspoon each of cinnamon. Okay, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. We're also going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we have a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to get an 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. And nutmeg to me just smells like the holidays, right? So we're going to do an 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And we're also going to put a little pinch of ground cloves. Okay? And now we're just going to whisk those ingredients together, and it smells so good with those spices in here. We're going to make sure it's thoroughly combined so when we put our wet ingredients in, it'll make it easy to incorporate the two together. Okay, so now we're going to mix our wet ingredients. We're going to take 1 cup of milk. We're going to take 6 tablespoons of canned pumpkin. This smells really good, and it's smelling like fall. Okay, we're going to take 1 egg, and then we're going to take 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And we're just going to mix this really quick to combine. Okay, now we're going to slowly combine our wet ingredients with the dry, and we're going to mix it slowly to combine. Okay, now that we have our ingredients combined, we are going to put this aside for a minute to let the baking powder do a little rise on the batter, and we are going to make the cinnamon honey butter. Okay, so we're going to take 1 stick of softened butter, and this is salted butter, just regular butter. If you use unsalted butter, you need to add a pinch of salt to this to make up for the lack of salt. So we have 1 cube salted butter. Okay, we're going to take 3 tablespoons of honey, and make sure you get really good honey, because there's good honey and not so good honey. So we're going to take 3 tablespoons of honey. Wow, it's looking good. Honey can be kind of messy, but it's messy that's worth it, right? Okay, we got 3 tablespoons of honey. And we're going to take 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. We're just going to put that, or to your taste. And we're just going to combine these 2 things. And it is a little stiff to stir it. So just keep stirring until you have the mixture totally combined. Okay, so now we have our honey butter all made. We're going to put it into this little serving dish. And this was so easy to make. A cube of butter, 3 tablespoons of honey, and spice it up with some cinnamon to your liking. You can do from 1/4 teaspoon all the way up as much as you want, right? And we're going to get all that luscious honey butter into our little serving dish here. And now let's make us some pumpkin pancakes. Okay, so we have heated our pan up to medium heat, and we're going to take a little butter and we're just going to grease the pan a little bit. Turn this down just slightly. We don't want the butter to smoke. And we're going to spoon our batter just like we're making any other kind of pancakes. These pancakes I'm not going to make too big. So I'm using a 1/4 cup scoop. And we're going to make some pretty nice pancakes. And you want to cook them until you see some bubbles forming, just like you would any other pancakes. A little brown on the other side, and then we'll flip them. Really starting to be able to smell the pumpkin. They're looking good. I want to let them brown up nicely, and then we're going to flip them. Ooh. Okay, our pancakes are off the griddle, and now it's time to plate them up. So we're going to take 2 pancakes on our plate, and we are going to give it a little bit of this delicious cinnamon honey butter. Oh gosh, this is just outrageous, totally outrageous. And we're going to give it a little bit of syrup. This is pure maple syrup. Wow. Let's take a taste. This is what I call a fall breakfast. Wow. These are really, really good. You can really taste the pumpkin, the cinnamon, the honey butter is just great. Let me take another taste. Wow. Now this is an outstanding way to bring in the fall season. Pumpkin pancakes with cinnamon honey butter. If you like this recipe, please log on to my website at amylearnstocook.com and subscribe at youtube.com/amylearnstocook. I'm also on Twitter at twitter.com/amylearnstocook.
Pumpkin tastes fresh. Butter, sweet, cinnamon, all that tasty. I'd eat it.
I want pancakes! I'm gonna eat you, Pancake. I'm gonna eat you.